Hey James, so we'll go ahead and go over some of your training videos together, and then after that, go ahead and go over your new block of training, which I'm extremely excited for. It's going to be incredibly beneficial for both your aesthetic goals and your strength improvement. Let's go ahead and look at a few of those videos though. So I've yet to see these, so we watch them together. Nice. So right there, again, improvements, looking better. Still want to strive to get even better positions, but that looks really good. A ton better than before. I can tell you that you're using your lats and your upper body musculature a lot better. Beautiful. No flexion. Yeah, very nice. That looks really, really good. Just like you said, things are really dialing in with your squat. Couldn't ask for better. It looks really, really good. Flexion went away. A better upper body position, which I think greatly helped with some of the lumbar flexion you had at the bottom. Just getting in better shoulder, scapula, and elbow position. From here to here, that's really helped everything downstream, along with your bracing continually getting better, which is awesome. So really happy there. Oh, I think I skipped the video. There we go. I look good. I would like in the future though. Let's go ahead and try to get. Oh, never mind. So the next one actually is just the perfect angle I want it. Let's try to make it so that it's a camera angle that I can definitely see how your elbow is functioning at the bottom of the bench press. But no big deal there. It looks like the next one is that way. Yeah, beautiful angle. Like this angle a lot. Nice. So the only thing I'd have to note on your bench press is that I do believe two things. One, we could be doing a little more with our legs. Keep in mind, legs are a huge, huge component of the bench press, even though obviously bench press, upper body exercise, people don't really think of it that way. But let's go ahead and get those feet a little further under us if we can. And I am noticing, I noticed it a little bit with the long pause press, but I very much noticed it with the touch and go. The hard part with the long pause was the camera angle. I couldn't see your elbow. With this one, I definitely could. We are having a tiniest bit of a dump on the bottom of our bench press. So it's looking like this. Good, 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 good. At the last, let me even on my hands. There we go. Last second, it's going here. Elbows flaring a little further back, and we're losing that perfectly stacked position that we want to be in. Instead, we're touching it just a little too low. So we're just losing our stack positions. Let's go ahead and change our touching point a little bit, and let's go ahead and get that same camera angle that we saw in the previous video, but maybe a little closer to you. And let's make sure we're being very consistent with our touching point for one, and two, make sure we're absolutely stacked throughout. We're not having that last second dump on the bottom. Very minimal though, not a big deal. So most people when they dump, they look like this, head raised up, nothing like that at all. So it's just somewhere we could possibly improve on. So leg position, and on top of that, just avoiding that slight dumping motions going on the bottom. Very slight though. Look good. I do think the month of tempos really benefited you greatly. I really like us doing that. Yeah, just make sure that we're continuing to avoid the amount of the slight flexion happens at the bottom. It did happen just a little bit with that video, but no big deal whatsoever. I think the tempos have helped you a ton, and you're really dialing in everything else. So yeah, it's continually moving in the right direction, which is exactly what we can see, or we want to see. Looking at actual training, we'll look at your training log and kind of break down a few exercises, why I put them in, why I put them in where, and things of that nature. So looking at the actual log, bam, beautiful. So this is your first week of the new block. So this is going to be a really, really fun one for you. You won't always hear me say this, but there's some clients when I make a block for them, like, oh, fuck yeah, it's going to be really good for them. So this is one of those. I'm really excited for this one. We're doing some long pauses on Monday with the bench press. Those were extremely beneficial for strength last month, according to numbers. So that'll be a really good one for you. Squat with pause, box squat. So box squat's going to be a new one for you, very new one. Basically, the thing that I do want to reiterate before you actually do it is that we want to set that box to exactly 90, but if anything, a tiny bit lower than 90. We don't want it any higher than 90 degrees in your squat, the parallel point. So let's make sure we have a perfect box height for that. Test it, set a side angle camera view, and make sure on your workup sets that it's the correct height. And the second thing I want to urge you on is that we're not bouncing. We're not. It's going to be a nice slow descent into the hole, and then once we touch the box, we explode up. But we're not bouncing. We're not going to slam your butt on it and then go or anything of that nature. And I don't want you to lose tension, which is really, really important and also very common. A lot of individuals, when they go on the box, they'll like lift their feet up almost and they'll relax on the box for a second and then go, or they'll lean back a little bit, then go. We should keep our exact fold proportions with our upper body as we touch the box. Everything's perfectly tensioned. You lose absolutely nothing in terms of tension then firing up. So that's probably the biggest thing with the box squats I see people mess up a lot on is bouncing off the box and losing tension and also setting up the wrong box height. So as long as we're very, very careful with that kind of stuff, it'll be a great exercise for you. I'm really excited for you to try it. The next exercise slot on Monday, though, is going to be Spoto press. So we had a lot of success with that last month according to numbers. Went really, really well, but we're going to make that a lot harder. So the 2 count pause, we're going to do a 3 count pause. You're going to feel the difference big time. Let's make sure it's a 3 full count pause. It's really, really important. You'll have somebody do a 3 count pause for months straight, looking for a very specific stimulus, and then I go and I meet with that person, and it's like 1, 2, 3, and they go, well, it should be once you're at a complete stop, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then up. If anything, I'd rather you go a little longer than a little shorter, and I'd rather use a little less weight than pushing load and cutting the pause short. So I'm not saying you're guilty of that whatsoever. I just always like reiterating that because it's very important. But the Spoto is going to be very beneficial. We're making it quite a bit harder. Next on Monday, we're going to continue on with dips. Lower rep schemes, so I really hope that we can add load to dips. And the last one on Monday is going to be hip thrusts with a pause. So hip thrusts with a pause. The difference between glute bridges and hip thrusts. I'm not sure if you know it, but glute bridges usually take place where your back's on the ground, your whole body's on the ground, and then hip thrusts, on the other hand, you're laying on a bench, and it's usually a greater range of motion. So we're doing hip thrusts for that reason exactly. And this is going to be something that's going to be very beneficial for your glute goal as well as other ones. But where I really want you to focus on the 2 count pause and stop, it's not just going to be a pause. It's going to be a pause and a squeeze. We're not just getting there and relaxing. And the biggest point I want to kind of go through with the hip thrust is that a lot of people, especially on social media, you see this all the time, mess up on this exercise, and it drives me nuts. Because here's the deal: if we don't get our glutes, our hips, all the way through to where our body, from here to our knees, to our hips, everything's exactly parallel, like coffee table status. If there's even a little break in our hips and we're not pushing our glutes all the way through, the carryover to athleticism doesn't happen nearly as much. It's actually a huge difference, even not pushing them this far up to absolutely being parallel. Not as good athletic carryover, and on top of that, you're not going to work your glutes nearly as much. It's that last range of motion that makes all the difference. So make sure we're going all the way through, 2 count pause, all the way down. It's going to be very, very beneficial for all of your goals, but also we just got to make sure we do them very correctly. Looking at Tuesday, I kind of switched around deadlift days for reasons of fatigue and load management. But sumo deadlift with the pause, been there, done that. We increased the length of the pause, got a little more specific with the pausing height, and decreased reps. Sumo deadlift, we're doing touch and goes, not necessarily bounce and goes, but we're going to slowly ascend to the ground, touch the weight to the ground, and immediately go. A little more volume there. Barbell bent over rows, that's nothing new there. Tempo, that pull down with pause, that's going to be a really tough one. I very much suggest you push it on that. And isometric bicep curls, this is one that if you Google isometric bicep curls, you might see 6 different results. But basically all it is, pretend I have dumbbells in my hand and pretend I'm standing up, arms are straight up my side. I'm going to go ahead and bring one at 90 and do curls with the other one. So let's say it's 7 reps per side. I'm holding this at 90 the entire time while I do 7 on this side, and then 7 on this side. Very, very challenging exercise, but also the isometric bicep curls do have a really good carryover to even running sports, because oftentimes it can kind of mess with your gait if your biceps don't have a certain degree of conditioning. And there's other obvious benefits as well as just having bigger biceps. Isometric curls are very, very beneficial exercise. Big fan of them. So let's push those quite a bit. Thursday, 3 count pause, slow on the way down. Front squat with pause is going to be a tough one. Incline bench with dumbbells. Let's really make sure we're going full range of motion. We're not going to push the load too much. It's going to be high volume. Get some of those bigger chests, bigger arms, all that good stuff. Tempo conventional deadlift, that's going to be a very beneficial one for you. It's going to really work the glutes. Also going to be extremely challenging positionally to keep good tension in positions while going that slow on the way down with decent load, as well as dialing in your pattern in that lift. In place back lunges, it's going to be another good one. Glute ham raise. So yeah, I think that's just about it that I need to cover in this video. If you have any questions on any of the new exercises, please let me know, because there's a lot of new ones and then slight tweaks, very small tweaks that make a big difference in old ones. So just let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to meet up with you in person very soon. But besides that, just let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.